again. I'm back building America's, I'd say flagship car, but the Ford GT is faster, better looking, probably better made, handles better, sounds better, comes in better colours, is more, yeah, you get the point. So, this is kind of straying from the path a little bit with drift cars. I think Daigo Saito built a C6. Matt Field is building a C6 for Formula Drift this year. I've seen a couple of people building C6 Corvettes. Taylor Ray, the YouTuber, has a C5 drift car. There's a few. But I've never seen a C7 drift. Like, not a C7 built for drifting. If you know that there is one, please tag me. I'd actually kind of love to see that. So, I thought I'd build one, because I haven't really had much of a chance. I'm filming both this and the R34 video in the same day, because I have a load of spare time, so I thought, fuck it, let's do it. Bit of a problem with this car, it's something that I haven't really found with any of the other cars that I've built so far, with them having conventional manual gearboxes. And it sounds weird, but it's the fact that this has 7 gears, or 8 gears I think it is. With this tune, I've tried to sort of just ignore the 7 and 8. We've made it as close to a 6-speed as we can, just because I can. I understand the gearing enough to do something along those lines. All you need really is 3rd, 4th at a push. But you know, it works. 7 and 8 are practically ignored, but you can still go into them, say if you want to go down Le Mans, Mulsanne straight in a drift car, for whatever reason. I was kind of surprised, pleasantly surprised with this car. This feels a lot nicer than the R34. It's a lot smoother, but that's purely because of the fact that it's got fucking huge brake tyres. So, as you can see, I checked the engine swap, and all you can swap in is the V8 racing one. I didn't want to run turbos because I'm not that bad. The supercharger feels nice anyways, it's got a much smoother power output, and it sounds cool, honestly. I didn't want to remove the wing either, it's quite an interesting sort of thing. Comes on sport tyres as standard, which is nice. It means I don't have to scroll across two tyre compounds. I think we went for 335s in the end, I believe. I can't quite read the screen, so... quite a wide tyre, meaning that the car's very heavy. When it's carrying momentum, it's fast as shit, but when it isn't, it's slow. It's not the fastest of cars. It's not going to win you too many battles unless you're against people that are a bit shit. Pardon my French. Honestly though, it does feel nice. It's a nice car, it's very consistent. You could probably get on a couple of people's door and you can easily get back into the power with it being supercharged. It's kind of available instantly. It is ESDA legal, as far as I'm aware, like I said last time. I'm pretty sure it is. And we don't end up running that much power in this build. Also, it ends up being near enough perfect on the dot legal by £0, literally. I think in the end it comes out to... Oh no, we're on 345s, and it comes out to £3,500. It feels like it is £3,500. At the end of the day, it feels heavy, but in turn it feels relatively sort of planted. It's kind of nice, actually. It's a nice feeling in a car. It's really easy to drive. I threw it onto Suzuka as per normal. That's the normal track that I use to tune, and it is nice. It's relatively smooth. It transitions quite well. It doesn't like sitting at angle though. I don't know if that's to do with my tune being a little bit questionable, or whether it's just me being on a bad day for driving. But it does feel quite nice. I tried to run it relatively inside and try to keep it somewhat smooth. I kind of cut that last corner a little bit shallow, but it's neither here nor there. The car feels nice. Again, I threw my bass tune on it and tweaked it from there. Tyre pressure, it's the same story as normal, relatively low in the rear, sort of 20 psi is a baseline, and then fettle it from there, and then sort of trying to get 30 psi as close as can be in the front when they're heated up. It works really well. Tyre pressures on this, it kind of surprised me. I ended up running like 15 psi at one point when I was tuning, because I built it originally, I tuned it on Lime Rock, and then took it to Suzuka for the final touches. And it felt really nice. It was really responsive on 15 psi, and I just slowly moved it up from there, and slowly made the gearing a little bit sort of weird. Yeah, as you can see, I've tried to make it sort of a torquier car with the longer gears, and then if you looked at a normal 6-speed car, i.e. the R34, the gearing's kind of similar to this. It feels nice. The gears are, like, third gear is perfect for Suzuka. You could probably get away with second at a push on a couple of the corners on certain sections. I know third gear would be fine for Mugello because it tends to be the same for Suzuka. Long Beach as well, it'd be working on. Honestly, it feels nice. The power comes in really smooth. It's not really too sluggish towards the bottom end either because it's supercharged. Camber, randomly, standard alignment when you put race suspension on these cars is actually really good. Obviously I've changed it because I wanted to actually tune the car and make it feel better, but as standard it actually felt really nice. Comes standard with like 650 brake horsepower as well, so you don't really need to add any horsepower into it. I just wanted to make it an easy car to drive. Running somewhat small amounts of camber and toe. Anti-roll bars, again, same sort of story. It's the usual. I set my base tune on there, it felt nice, so I sort of tweaked it until it felt a little bit better. And it worked, honestly. The anti-roll bars aren't that much different to what I'd run normally. Whether it's the 34, the S chassis, sort of my Volvos, anything really. The springs were questionable, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to run really stiff or really soft. Because the car is so low, there isn't that much suspension travel, and it feels kind of strange. It is a really strange feeling. Everyone complains about stuff like the S13 not being low enough, but if it was low on this game, it would feel like arse. And this Corvette is kind of a perfect example. Because it's low, Forza have got it as not having much suspension travel, when in reality it does. And I've kind of tried to work around that with the damping and the suspension setup. So damping, again, relatively similar to normal. It's a little bit more towards understeer than oversteer, just so that you can power over and it kind of feels a little bit smoother. You do have to transition relatively early because it's heavier and because of the way it's tuned. If you transition a little bit earlier than you're probably used to, it does feel really nice. The aerodynamics standard, the rear wing, is apparently adjustable. Didn't know that, didn't touch that because I honestly don't really see the point. There's no point in aero on a drift car. Lol. I just said lol and ironically kill me now. So yeah, brakes. Brakes, again, same thing as normal. I ran, I believe, a little bit less when it comes to the tyre pressure. Well, not tyre pressure, brake pressure. It feels nice. I was left foot braking a little bit on a couple of runs on Lime Rock and it felt brilliant. Same thing on Suzuka when you're entering. If you sort of slowly sort of press the brake trigger, if you're on controller like me, it feels really nice because the front end sort of digs into the corner. It's a really weird feeling as well. Differential it was the easiest thing to tune by far, and I ended up coming out with this. I tried a couple of different settings and this one worked the best. So there is my C7 Vet tune. If there's any cars you want to see tuned, if there's anything you want me to make a video on, leave it in the comments. I'll read them as much as I can because I'll get 5 views, and hopefully you enjoyed. See ya.